In the media sphere, there's something very interesting going on. Matt Drudge, who's been a conservative institution since the late 1990s, has basically turned on President Trump, doing to him what he did to Hillary in 2016. Let's throw this up there on the screen. Trump denies mini stroke sent him to the hospital, a video of him dragging his right leg. Krystal, all of this stems from a Walter Reed visit that the president made allegedly for a physical, which was unannounced at the time in Thanksgiving 2019, has kind of like blown open into a big story.
Yeah.
Because the New York Times' Michael Schmidt reports that Mike Pence was actually reportedly put on standby to take over the duties of president.
Right.
And according to Schmidt, that the president was anesthetized. The president completely denies this. He said he never had any mini strokes, no health problems. It was just a physical.
Which, by the way, it was a little funny that the president was like, I never had a mini stroke, because Schmidt doesn't say
right.
that
Schmidt doesn't say that.
Stroke.
I think some
others, I'm sure, have posited whatever.
Some CNN analyst named Joe Lockhart, I think, is the one. Anyway, Drudge is running with it. I was around in 2016. I remember a lot of this stuff.
Oh,
Hillary,
yeah.
and earpiece, and the back brace, and all of that. But regardless of the veracity of both claims, because I think they're both not there, which is that what I think is it's a monumental. So Drudge has turned on Trump a long time ago. Basically, like, he'd been linking to things that were very bad for him during impeachment, and then especially during coronavirus. But now, in order to float these types of conspiracy theories about Trump himself, that's kind of a monumental betrayal.
Well,
if you really look at it.
And Drudge is really good at this thing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He
pioneered it.
This stuff was really bad for Hillary last time around.
Remember Clinton's son?
Well, I mean, that photo of her being helped up for the stairs that had been from months.
Which was crazy.
Which had been from months before, though. And then Drudge posts it, and it's like, Grandma Hillary conquers the stairs, and made it as if it had just happened. I mean, again, he's really good at this. And also, look, from working in the conservative ecosystem, Drudge still has a lot of power.
Oh, yeah.
If you can get a link on Drudge, you're going to get a ton of traffic still. And this is part of why the conservative media ecosystem has been so strong and so powerful over time, because there's nothing exactly equivalent to it on the liberal or the left side, where if you can get it in that spot. Huffington Post used to be a little bit like that, but it's not like that anymore. And so that whole ecosystem that feeds into all the boomer people, conservatives across the country, this is a critical link that has been severed now. So it is very interesting. I will say, I'm really curious about the Walter Reed visit, because it was unannounced, right? Now we get some new reporting that Pence was told to put on standby, that the president was anesthetized, which is not they were like, oh, it's just a routine physical, as one does, and unplanned randomly on the weekend go to Walter Reed. And also, apparently, the protocols that they use, this is all according to Michael Schmidt's reporting, so take it for what it is. All the protocols they used at the hospital normally for VIPs, if they were expecting the president, were not employed. So I am curious what happened that day. Nonetheless, the real story here is Drudge turning on Trump.
Yeah, having the video of the right leg thing, that is just textbook.
Oh, yeah.
2016
100%.
Stuff. And look, there's been a big split in the conservative ecosystem around Drudge. There's now the Bongino report and others. A lot of conservatives have kind of tuned out. But we have to Drudge page views are still as good as ever. I think he posted about it when people were like, people are abandoning Drudge. He's like, really? Then why are my page views better than they've ever been before? So the man has always he's a very strange man, reclusive man, but he has his eye on the story and his pulse. And if he's pushing this type of stuff, I can guarantee you it is going to have an effect regardless of whether you like it or not.
Even when I hate what he's posting, I still go to Drudge, because he has a great eye for things that are just, quirky or bizarre.
UFOs.
Or there's always something.
And hurricanes. He loves hurricanes.
That's true. That is true.
It's his favorite thing.
So at the same time, we're getting some intel about the Trump campaign strategy here heading into the final stretch.
Yeah, and so let's take a look at this. This was very interesting. So Jason Miller and the campaign manager, Bill Stepien, they had these competing whiteboards, basically, where they map out, and reporters actually got a look at that yesterday. So this is fascinating to me about what they're going on. So the Stepien one, it's all about the budget, and I assume the Trump campaign budget. But Miller, who's actually a 2016 alum and a bit more of a populist, is still going with the highlighting the Biden embrace of the radical left and trying to force Biden out of the basement. Miller said, quote, I would say that on those two fronts, we have a pretty darn successful summer. So I don't know about this. I mean, once again, maybe they have some crazy polling that I don't. I don't suspect it, though, because the way it does, it's not landing with the American public. The only time I thought they had a chance at this was with the riots. But Biden, and we've covered it in the show today, is actually handling that quite well, saying, yeah, actually condemn rioting and looting in all forms, and really it's President Trump who won't come and condemn his supporters who have paintball guns. I mean, it's a pretty effective message, right? Like, once again, yes, I think many of the people who work for Biden are crazy. I think Kamala Harris is a woke soldier. I think all of that. I don't think he would do nearly as much as what Trump did. But on the pure messaging of it, Biden appears to be much more trying to recall to a better angels of our nature type situation. And we just have to understand that that is what ultimately lands with people. And if Trump were to get any sort of bump out of it, it would have had to have been Biden having a misstep, refusing to condemn violence or any of that, which he's not doing.
And he's not going to do. He's a crime bill guy. Come on. I mean, he had that line from his speech. It was a great line that we played here where he's like, radical socialist, come on, look at me. Do I look like a radical socialist? And that's all he has to do to rebut it, because the polling all shows this attack isn't working. It's not working. People do not think Biden is a radical. In fact, they think Biden and Harris are more moderate than Trump and Pence. So if this is your strategy, and also the get out of the basement thing, he has emerged now. He went to Pittsburgh this week. He's doing multiple events this week. They've sort of, I think, realized that they need to kick into a higher gear. They need to show a little bit of vitality to the campaign and potentially get a little more enthusiasm on their side and just show that he's capable of handling the duties of the presidency. And look, so far he's pulling that off.
Yeah, so far it's working. So maybe not things so great for the Trump campaign. They have lost Drudge officially.
All right, more Rising for you after this.